Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here going to be taking a look at the Shanghai Dota 2 Open. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by PqMz. We're going to be taking a look at EHOME.Keen facing off against Team Braveheart. Set to be a pretty great one. It's the lower bracket matchup. Previously, we saw another game that was taking place between Vici Gaming as well as ig.Vitality. And then after this, we're also going to be taking a look at CDEC facing off against Newbie. PqMz, sir, how are you doing this evening? You excited for some Chinese Dota?
I'm pretty good, thanks. And yeah, I'm definitely excited for some games. What about you?
Oh yeah, definitely feeling great, wonderful, all kinds of good. A little bit. Have you had too much experience watching either of these teams, either previously, like before TI, or much since then at all? Because there have been a few changes around the way.
I've got to be honest, I haven't seen them. The limited amount of Chinese games I've been in, it's mostly been like eHome, IG, not these two teams, unfortunately. But it looks pretty standard so far.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and they kind of have a little bit of that storied history. The tier 2 Chinese teams tend to play against each other a lot. QD, for instance, he was on the old IG team, so probably one of the more well-known players. And JDH probably the only other one. But there's not really a whole lot here. All these teams are kind of like the teams that can't quite consistently beat each other. You think about them. We Are Young is another one. What else is there? Thunder Robot Gaming, just sort of trying to break into the scene, but never quite making it. So this is a pretty big tournament for them, and see if they can make some shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, it always feels good when you can put in a good tournament when you're like a tier 2 team, because it really just establishes you and people get to know your name, and you just feel good about yourself after that.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think about this pick right off the bat? EHOME.Keen going for the Lifestealer Ricky. There's no muss, no fuss. They're just going straight for this combo. Is it still as good as we saw it be like about 2 months ago or so? Is it kind of fallen off a little bit?
I feel like it's still really good because two of the better heroes at dealing with it, being Shadow Demon and OD, are out the pool. You know, there's no amazing defensive mechanisms left, so if they can connect on a target, it's very likely they die, barring force staffs, etc. And the fact they even get Oracle in the second stage when Braveheart first picks Darkseer, it's looking pretty good for them so far. I'm really surprised they managed to get it.
Yeah, it's pretty important. I mean, you talked about that Darkseer Oracle thing. It's kind of difficult to deal with, definitely, and now Juggernaut's going to be the one that gets taken. Kind of an interesting matchup there. I always feel like Jug does have problems with high physical damage, but is Lifestealer going to be able to stay on top of him?
Possibly. It depends on team fights. And at the moment, eHome don't have anything like Slardar to lock people down. So they're probably going to be looking for something along those lines. Batrider fits a bill. They already took the heroes to counter it. Now they've got the 2 initiation tools for the first, so it makes their lineup a bit more flexible. Jug's just a solid mid hero though. You can't really go wrong with him, and you can also bring him to the safe lane. It's a very good timing with Darkseer, so I know I do prefer eHome though. I think their draft's just easy to execute.
Yeah, I mean it's very clear what they're going to be trying to accomplish. Those quick picks, and now you have 2 different vehicles for that Lifestealer to jump out and find kills, to just find a way to get on top of Braveheart. But the Disruptor is going to get taken now in response. It's pretty great for being able to, if you can get the initiation on the Lifestealer with the Static Storm, but I do feel like it might be a little bit difficult given the vision advantage that EHOME.Keen already has with the Ricky and the Bat.
Yeah, it's a great pick in theory, but in practice I feel like the Ricky's just going to find you every fight and then smoke screen you, and then Batrider Lifesteal jump another hero and you can't get your spells off in time. But if it works, where they get the combo with the vacuum, then it can really counter-initiate. It's just actually getting it. Because eHome are going to commit very hard on like one target when they go. And then they're probably going to want to disengage, so Glimpse will be good. It's just a matter of him being in good positions the entire game for it to work.
I have to see if they can make that happen. There's also a couple of names on here looking through it that we're not going to be able to pronounce, so we're probably going to have to call them by their hero names, but I'm sure that that's fine. They do ban up
Chinese Dota.
Exactly. We do get the last ban now of the Naga Siren, as well as the Timbersaw from EHOME.Keen, and the final pick for Braveheart. What do they need to line out their draft? I'm guessing maybe a tower hitter, or I don't know if that's something that they need to worry too much about.
5 seconds
I
remaining.
think with how they're going so far, they want to hit a timing where like Daxir has mech, Jug has like drums or
Reserve
Yasha plus
time.
phase, and they want to kind of get team fights around that level 6 on supports. So if they either want to bolster that timing and go for something that fits in with it, or something that just adds carry potential.
Dire
Invoker kind of
team pick.
fits. Gives them, as you said, a tower hitter. They don't really have setup for things like Sunstrike, so it's not the best exhort game. It's also very hard for him to stay in fights because he's just going to die to Lifestealer.
Right.
And the pressure from Ricky in the lane can always be hard to deal with.
10 seconds remaining.
It's a lot of things that definitely could go wrong here, as
5 seconds
seems like Team
remaining.
Braveheart are gonna use the Invoker pretty heavily to rely on it, I guess.
Reserve
It's
time.
very scary. I would agree with you that this definitely feels to me like one of those games. And also not to mention that if he does happen to find somebody, oftentimes we've seen Invokers go back for Yule's build and then go on one target, just explode them at the start of the fight. Oracle probably is going to be able to save that person. I don't know. It definitely... I don't know if there was a great pick overall for Team Braveheart, but this one might be a bit rough. I can see the synergy with the Darkseer, big vacuum into Invoker combo, but it feels like it might be difficult to execute, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it just feels like they've kind of cobbled together a lineup that, it looks okay on paper, but when you break it down, it just feel like eHome's got the better run of the game because their supports are going to be very stationary in lanes. I think the best thing they can do is like do some kind of aggressive tri-lane where they put the Jug up there and they try and contest for Lifestealer early, give Darkseer a easy safe lane against the Batrider, and then that will kind of stop the Ricky roaming mid as well, in theory.
Mm.
But other than that, I feel like their supports will be very stagnant. Darkseer's not going to move around too much, and Boku just wants to hit creeps. So I feel like eHome just have the run of the map of what they want to do with their Ricky. And once Batrider gets online with like a Blink and Infest starts coming out, they're going to have to group up a lot, which will lose some of the farm game. And now there's an Elk in the pool, so that's going to be a problem.
We'll see if they can possibly bring it back. Team Braveheart with a lot of cards stacked up against them. And yeah, that last pick, Alchemist, as you mentioned, can be a pretty huge problem. I'm actually getting a little bit of lag right at the start. I might try a reconnect real quickly just to make sure that we give you guys all the highest quality Dota 2 experience you can possibly have. So given that that's kind of the case, we've talked about EHOME.Keen just getting what they want. Do you think that Braveheart need to switch things up and try and roam like aggressively into the jungle to contest the stacks that we know are going to come from the Alk, or how do you think that dynamic is going to play? Can they even contest the Alk really heavily?
I think they definitely can, because Jug's very strong at fighting just level 6, level 7. Dax is very good at taking the actual stacks. So if they can get some vision up there early, which I think is going to be the hardest bit, because as I said earlier, their supports aren't particularly roam heavy. But if they can get the vision and then they can move the Jug, they can contest.
30 seconds.
Dax is definitely the best hero at just, walking into the woods on his own as well and taking the stack before Alk goes to it. So that's a possibility, but I imagine the Ricky scouts him. So there's lots of things they can do. I just feel like it's not going to quite come to pass.
Okay. Well, you mentioned it earlier, the Ricky, always a problem to deal with in the laning stage and beyond as far as what he brings to the team. It's just very difficult to deal with. So he'll be roaming around trying to make things happen, but Braveheart versus EHOME.Keen, game 1 underway now, and I feel like we're kind of just being a bit redundant now, but I'm gonna put my chips on the table as well for EHOME.Keen and say that they probably have the easier run of it, as looks like they're gonna try and get the creep wave pulled back through and should be able to get away from it unimpeded.
One amazing thing with Batrider, you can do it so safely, and once you guarantee this wave, you get level 2, you can just resort to the jungle if the lane gets hard. I really like this. I don't think people do this enough, and people don't respect it enough either. It's like support's just kind of sitting around bounty runes, etc. You can stop this, but people just forget it's in the game at times, because it hasn't happened to them in like 10, 15 games.
This is going to be great. Yeah, he's going to get a whole heck of a lot out of that. Meanwhile, mid lane, it does look like the Disruptor instead is going to focus on trying to shut out the Alchemist. So, I mean, a little bit of tit for tat. They're doing a bit to contest his farm so far, so you can't fault them too much for that. Does that just sort of put that much more pressure on the Batrider to get a lot out of this laning stage himself then?
I don't think it puts pressure, it just... Elk's a hero that naturally struggles over the first 4 or 5 minutes. Bounty runes will generally be the big source of his income if the other mid laner is good at last hitting. And he'll recover through stacks, or recover through just space being made on the map by the rest of his team. His lifesteal is going to move early. So I don't think his laning stage is honestly that important. As long as he doesn't die several times and give up a lot of gold, I think they're fine.
Okay.
And you know, they can change this dynamic very easily with Ricky moving in. If they win the Sentry War, which they already have, because I don't think they have another one, it's actually on Witch Doctor. That's a problem. Now Invoker's going to get, you know, pretty cut.
Definitely. In this lane, I've played against it a couple times as Invoker. It's just really frustrating to have to deal with the constant spam of acid spray. Sometimes what we'll see instead is Invokers picking up like an early Aquila or something. Sunstrike coming through, dodges is out, and might be able to go down. They do get first blood, so an overextension there from the Ricky. I feel like with winning the Sentry War, that should not have happened.
Just unexpected damage from Alacrity, I think. And it's good that they capitalize on that, because it might stop him coming back here or give him second thoughts. You know, they need to get something more than the ordinary out of this laning stage, I think, to feel even. Yeah. Especially as the Bat's basically free farming in the off lane, which is a nightmare for their team. They have nothing to counter him, barring Glimpse, which isn't really a good counter when he just runs at you with like 5-6 stacks. And now the Ricky can move down here and they can contest the supports.
Not to mention that we do also have, I mean, this is level 4 on the Bat Rider, and it's really just comparing it to the Dark Series game. Like you said, he's level 2 at this point. Can't even get to the side shop to try and finish off his Soul Ring. And I don't know. It's definitely feeling like you said these lanes are working out much better for EHOME.Keen, despite that early death on the Ricky. For Braveheart, do they try and switch things up at all at this point, or do they just try and further contest the Alks farm?
I think they have to play around their timings, because if they try and switch it up now and just start moving their supports where it doesn't really matter, they're just going to get further behind. I think they have to wait for Jog to probably face boot 6 or 7, depending when he feels comfortable, and then move him around, get some kills with Omni, preferably on the L. If you can move before the Lifestealer moves, that might change the early game a bit. But other than that, I think you just have to wait for supports to get 6, which is going to take a really long time when Bat Rider's keeping both of them there.
Absolutely.
And they have to spend support money for the Ricky, and life just gets very hard for them. You know, they don't have a do something hero, which is like the biggest problem in their draft, I feel like. If your carry's the do something hero, then there's a lot of pressure on him.
Well, bounty rune left for the Alchemist. Easy 230 gold in the pockets, and it does really feel like
middle tower is under attack.
smoke coming out. They need to get something out of this rotation, which is a possibility. They've got themselves a glimpse. Invokers in the area as well. Alacrity and Cold Snap there. They're going to walk forward. Need to be careful they don't ever extend into the acid spray, though, and now trying to glimpse them back into it. They are going to get a stun out, but yeah, taking some damage as well. The right clicks are there, and can they find the kill? Oh, it was really close to taking down that Invoker, but wasn't able to find it in the end.
That's first really good movement from them. I feel like that was very unlikely to work, but Disrupt having boots. You know, when you smoke like that, you generally want to like wrap around, but that's really good for them that it works. They need to keep up the pressure though. If they can do that again, that's great.
EHOME.Keen now, they've still got eyes on this Darkseer the whole time through, so it's not going to be the easiest time for him in the world to go in jungle, but it doesn't even seem like they want to try and commit those resources towards messing with him. And Ricky is still getting himself a nice bit of farm. Although it does look like Alchemist has retreated to the jungle to try and secure himself a bit as well.
I feel like this is really early to move.
Oh god, they're going to actually glimpse him back in towards mid again, and now Ricky going to die. Oh, Blink Strike's away, and Sunstrike coming in. Is it going to hit? He's still dead to the Thunderclap though, and that's going to be a kill.
It is still just a Ricky though. That's much better than the
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Absolutely. Well, and the fact that he's at least getting something out of the lane while he's dying, some amount of experiences, it's not great.
That.
It's okay.
Like if you have to trade your life for 1 or 2 levels as a support, you generally take that trade. Levels are how you make impact into the game. It's very rarely through money, at least at this stage.
Absolutely. Raindrops now up on Invoker, and he's building ever closer to that Midas. The Gloves of Haste are completed. You haven't been able to see any killer Sunstrikes, but he's still been involved in a couple of those kills, and you can see Dog 7 already moving over and taking out these creep camps with the Ion Shell. Very frustrating indeed for the Alchemist to deal with, and it's going to come in, I think, a little bit too late to the party here. Oracle just going to clean those up.
Yeah, that's a really nice heads up. Having the ward helps a lot as well, makes him feel a lot safer. Unfortunately, he can't get to like the stacks that are worth slightly more. But any economical damage he can do, especially considering he's struggling in the lane, is good for them.
Home, just trying to get more onto this Bat Rider. Already has the Tranquil Boots as well as the Windlace. What do you think this game about the Bat Rider drums versus blink dichotomy? Which one do you like more in this game for him?
I feel like when you have Lifestealer, Blink's just a better option, especially when you're having such a good start, and like your other cores are having such a good start as well. You just want to enable them instead of going for like more of the solo things, which drums is normally the reason you go for. Like Invoker's such an easy hero to gank as well. Like all of their cores are really easy to gank if you just blink on top of them. You spend one smoke, you get a core kill, you translate it into a tower. I think that's what they want to be doing. So I think Blink's just better. Also, I think he would have bought drums if he wanted to go with the build up now.
JDH there, the Lifestealer was going after the Darkseer there and able to get a pretty good jump on him, but didn't quite have the damage to finish it off. So Oracle steps in, Purifying Flames, and with that ward, I don't know if they're actually going to get that one taken down. Yeah, they have some sentries coming out for the Disruptors. They should realize that this area is warded, but by the same token, they've placed one in the lane. Will he be able to get both with one ward? That's the big question. Doesn't look like it, as he places it on the high ground.
Yeah, I feel like there, you just each ward, you don't want to risk getting dived, but little do they know, there's another ward behind the tower, and this lane's like a death trap to go into.
And Dog 7 just gonna continue to try and farm here. This is a very risky situation for Braveheart to be in, and Ricky also just constantly keeping the vision on everybody. Very difficult
Good
game.
hero. I like the fact he's not even trying to like pull the waves and stuff. He's playing further back because he knows if he gets caught, it's lights out for him, and his team's not going to TP early, especially when they're smoking like this. This is really good though.
This is really I think that was actually. Did Alchemist not realize that? They pinged out that the healing ward was moving randomly through there. They should have realized, and now Alchemist, he's just gonna die to that.
That's really bad then if he dies to that, and they saw it. So like, that's the kind of rotation that I was on about Braveheart making, and now they can convert it into a tier 1 because Invoker's got capacity and the lane's already pushing in. So this is like as well timed as you could ask for a rotation to be. I'm sure Ricky can like soak some experience from the push, but setting a tempo that they need to keep up. Omni on cooldown is kind of an idea they want to get in their head. It sounds really basic, but
Dust did not end up catching onto the Ricky there, so he's still got the vision. But yeah, that was a very odd state of affairs for EHOME.Keen. I don't know who it was that pinged it out. I felt like it was even the Alchemist. It might have been the Lifestealer that pinged it. But regardless,
scouting healing ward.
I know, I guess. Yeah, that's rough. Oh, Bounty Rune, 420 for the Alchemist. Wonderful.
Recovery. Suddenly that gank doesn't matter. But they got the tier 1, so it does matter. And they also got a really good ward out.
Yeah.
Although that take nothing away from it.
I mean, just look at these. Still got more stacks over here. This is rough. This is gonna be so much gold into the coffers. Armlet already completed and building towards that relic now. It's worth noting Juggernaut, he got the bottom one as well, so starting to get some structural damage against EHOME.Keen.
Yeah, and now this first smoke gank. Unfortunately, it's not a very relevant target. I think we'll quite happily tank the gank with Disruptor.
What a surprise!
I don't think they're even going to convert off that. Because the Lifestealer's busy pushing top, he can't really push in mid. You know, if you're looking at straight up trades on smokes, Braveheart get the better end of it every time.
Well, it does look like right now EHOME.Keen are still able to pull ahead in terms of net worth just because of that Alchemist, and it's still something though where you want to make sure that each and every one of those rotations is working out well for you. But Lifestealer going to continue to farm away, rages away from the disruptor, and won't get caught. But this one might bear fruit as they jump forward. Are going to be able to catch immediately onto that Invoker, and with the cloud dropped a little bit off point, he ends up throwing for the Ghost Walk, but he's not going to be able to get away from that one. Meanwhile, the Witch Doctor ultimate comes out, is going to hit on absolutely everybody. Not often you see that long of a duration. I think that Oracle does live here, and everybody gets away unscathed except for that Invoker.
Yeah, poor little Invoker. Midas on cooldown, off cooldown as well, so the worst kind of death you can tank. They're not really getting any trades elsewhere on the map either. They're denting this tier 1 top, but they're not going to be able to convert it. I'm kind of surprised they're not moving the Lifestealer though. I guess they feel like they don't need to, because they're making every gank without him work. I just feel like they want to be getting those kind of smokes plus for tower, as opposed to that kind of smoke plus like split farm.
Still manning up against this Jug. He does have a creep nearby, so if he needs to, he can infest into it. Goes for the rage, turn around, and now silence. They do get the dust onto the Ricky, but that's all that they're going to do at this point. He comes in again, has tricks of the trade available if he wants to go for it, but the whole time through, you've also got the Alchemist who's farming away down on the bottom lane. He doesn't care at all.
Radiant's middle tower.
And mid's getting pushed in as well, so it's a trade. It might not be like for a tower at this point, because I imagine Braveheart will back off and try and defend. It's just, you know, how much is it really getting them ahead, taking these towers, grouping up? No. They need to convert off the map dominance they get, because losing all your tier 1s is a big problem when you want like the jungle to farms with effectively 2 of your cores. Batrider wants it, Elk wants it. Elk will probably get it, but you know, they both want access to it. If they can use this vision, they'll be in a good spot. The problem is, when you do that, they just go to your woods, and then you have to split up, and I think EHOME want that. Then the Batrider gets to play his own game. And same with the Ricky. This is the first infest we see, so this could be really bad for Braveheart.
I think that they're going to be able to turn it back around against them, as we've got 4 heroes in the area. They drop the Static Storm onto 2, and now bouncing around. Witch Doctor ultimate out as well. Ricky needs to run away. That could have gone so much worse, but what happened was Braveheart ended up smoke ganking while the rotation was in towards their jungle, and now the movement is over towards the Roche pit, so EHOME.Keen left a little bit more than they could chew.
Disruptor doing work. If you can get the Static Storm down before they jump, and then you don't use the Infest Bomb, then they can win every fight like that. And they get the biggest prize off that as well, which is just going to enable... I imagine they give it to the Invoker actually, because Cook's a lot more survivable. But it's going to enable them to probably push for tier 2s. At this stage, EHOME haven't really moved around enough with the Lifestealer to put pressure, and they just can't play in this farm war, and Elk's still quite far away from his Radiance. He still needs the recipe, but he's going to want to farm for a long time. And this is where Braveheart can really start applying some pressure. The question is how much they give up in trades, or do they just not give any trades and play static with the Aegis?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways that they can go about it, and the big problem is also, like you said, if they're not grouping up or trying to take objectives with that Aegis or whatever have you, then you're kind of in this awkward situation suddenly where you can't take fights because you're getting picked off by a Ricky Lifestealer combo, which is still very much a possibility, as QD is hanging out right next to that Ricky, and they have eyes over in this direction. Disruptor sort of casually walking by as well.
And rip Invoker.
Yeah.
I imagine they dive this if the Lifestealer comes over.
Ricky Nis now spotting the Disruptor. And they're setting
got
up.
the Infest ready, so I'm kind of surprised they're not forcing this a bit more. Like, instead of hitting the Ancients for 10 seconds, you could have had this kill already. Now you're losing your Oracle because you'd rather hit creeps. That's just sloppy. If you want to go for those things, you have to do them quickly, because Jug's hitting your tier 2 mid. It makes it very obvious that your heroes are out on the map somewhere.
Now movement in towards the mid lane. They're going to try and take it now. They're realizing that there might also be the wrap run in towards the jungle. We've got a smoke gank that's coming in to see if Braveheart can spot anybody moving in this direction, and It's like their eyes are on the Alchemist, but again, he heads back over into the base. He's not going to be found out, I don't think. Possibly. All right, glimpse back. Caught him for the moment. Static Storm and the Cold Snap. He gets through. He's going to be able to escape from that Static Storm Kinetic Field combo, and now he wants to party. He jumps back in, has a ton of healing from this one. The stun catches onto 2, Flame Break back as well. The Fortune's End is also going to connect onto 3, and they're bringing him very low. That's going to be down the Dark Seer, and Aegis gone for the Jug as well. Are going to be able to bring down the Disruptor relatively shortly. Piao on this Invoker is still relatively low as well. If they can somehow manage to find him, Knight's Deafening Blast, and Ricky just barely able to fade time away from that one. Still in the base, they're pulling the Jug back in after the spin, and QD finally finds the kill. 3 gone at the end of the day. I think that was that the 4th gone actually? No, it was just the 3.
They just got so baited there. I really liked how they went with the smoke and they had the burst on Disruptor, so if the Ricky popped it, they could get the free kill and stop anyone defending the tower. But with the Alk living there, they just got in such a shit position. If they could get that kill, they could like retreat out this way and they wouldn't like go straight into EHOME's claws. But this way, they kind of take the fight EHOME want them to take. Because Lifestealer can just get on the back lines, ravage the supports, and not ravage as in the spell, but you get what I mean. Yeah. He just wants to hit supports, and then he'll finish your cores off later, especially when the Jug gets baited into your base and tries to go for a kill with level 1 Omni against an armlet hero. That never normally works out well.
That's not the easiest of things to get done.
And that's like their strongest timing for such a long time, because Darkseer just finished mech, they've got Aegis. I feel like they're going to have to play fairly stagnant now, because EHOME just got such a huge amount of gold, and now Alk's closer to finishing his next item, which I imagine is BOTs, so his farm's just going to go up, and
oh,
finish his death zone.
Good play right here as well by the Disruptor, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, it was, Ricky spotted those, what they thought were illusions coming out from the Disruptor. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make enough of it. Now they lose the Darkseer as well as that Disruptor. So 2 more going down in the jungle for Braveheart. It was a fancy play, but they just needed a bit more damage.
I feel like there should have been a Sunstrike there, which I think would have converted the kill, and then it would have been worth it entirely. But now it's another shitty turn of events for them, where Lifestealer finishes his item, and he's got Infest cooling down, so he can move from base where they don't know where he's moving, if someone wants to link up with him, and then they can go set up a gank. It's the luxury of having 2 vehicles. If one of them's off the map, you have to be scared, and the other one can sit and farm. Unfortunately, they don't get the chance to do that, because it would have been really nice, but it's still EHOME's favor. You know, Elk finished his BOTs, has another 2k gold in 1 minute.
Yeah, he's pretty massive at this stage, and I think that we're starting to get into that position of the game where it doesn't really matter that you've got a pretty big team fight consortment of spells. Darkseer is still going to be able to get his vacuum, his wall off. It's only level 2 on the vacuum, but we really need to start seeing some more points into Wex and levels on this Invoker if they want to make this happen, as they kill off the Disruptor in the jungle. Lifestealer Ricky, still a good combo. Oh.
Yeah, they even saw that coming and they don't get the chance to counterplay it.
Oh, Rage! He's dropping low. Oh, the really good silence! Canceling the Witch Doctor ulti. Oh man, that really hurts. That could have been a kill there. He didn't have Rage for a couple more seconds, but doesn't get it.
And now they force the rotation, they get the collateral of taking the mid tower, and Braveheart just caught in the wrong spot, wrong time, trying to defend the tower when the hero's down, and EHOME is set up. And this is a bit earlier than what I thought EHOME's timing would be, because Elk generally wants Manta or something before he really hits a peak. But Braveheart losing the Aegis fight, they just feel so comfortable doing this now.
And
you know, said they need levels on Invoker, so he actually offers teamfight potential because their setup is a Witch Doctor Cask or a Glimpse. Glimpse isn't going to work because they're not going to be running away from you. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just have to dodge and hope to God EHOME don't end the game soon, because I don't see them converting teamfights at all.
Yeah, it's not an easy one to do at all. And maybe it comes off the back of an overextension from EHOME. That's a possibility. You think about possibly a Lifestealer and Fest Bomb gone wrong. That's one way in which they can
like
take
the one
it.
in the jungle.
Yeah.
If they could punish that, because they had vision with these 2 wards. If they had like earlier TPs and then Instead of, I think it was Disruptor who died, he
Yeah.
drops his Static Storm Kinetic Field and baits it, and then they turn into a kill. That's exactly what they want. But that's hard to pull off, you know. It's very easy for us to say in theory they need to set up and they need to react, etc. When you're playing, it's not that easy.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, Bat Rider jumps in. That's another dead Juggernaut. He's going to go down, and
Radiant's bottom
looks to
tower
be
is
sights
under
on the
attack.
mid lane. Forge Spirits do not quite push
Radiant's bottom
as quickly
tower
as they would
is
want them
falling.
to. And pretty much everybody is grouped up here. Al can just send in his illusions if he wants to, but he's going to send them off towards the jungle to farm. 18,000 net worth at this point on him. This is a very disheartening situation indeed.
Exactly where you want your Elk to be at this
Radiant's bottom
stage.
tower is under attack.
You know, he's basically got Octarine after one more minute of farming, and then it's go time. Because they won't be able to kill him unless they drop every single spell. And then you have this hero called Oracle that stops every spell from doing damage to you. And with your insane regen, I imagine he wants level 16 as well as Octarine, and then I don't think he's killable through the False Promise. And this TP is just like, super ambitious.
Alright, they wanted to get that one leveled down. The Maledict goes out as well, still taking a lot of damage. Witch Doctor Ultimate's there, but Oracle, they've got so much regeneration. QD has shown up and gonna start to bring them down. Can they even escape from this? Ghost walk away, trying to make his escape, got surged at the same time, but meanwhile, Blink Strike, oh! Ricky just got fogged there at the end as he was trying to go up the high ground. So at the same token, they jump forward again now onto the Juggernaut, who's still hanging out over here. They killed off the Alchemist, which gives them 1,000 gold, but immediately killed off afterwards.
Very small solace from that fight. A bit of outplay at the end, but they still lose like tier 2, and overall they lose the fight. Despite the fact the gold graph says they gained a bit,
Radiant's top
the joke's still
tower
going to
is
be
under
dead for like
attack.
30 seconds, and EHOME will push all the lanes in, and then again you've got to play reactive for the next 30 seconds.
Oh, that was a nice Sunstrike, but not below the
Radiant's top
threshold,
tower is
unfortunately.
under attack.
He's just setting up for the second one, dude.
The
I mean, if he
dream.
does that, then that's like a ball of play,
Been denied.
but I highly doubt it because Tranquils is going to tick him over.
Do it. Piao, we believe in you. He's not going
I mean,
for it.
that's just like putting fear into the heart of your opponents. If you can't win the game, you know, you got to swag on them one way or another, right?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that EHOME are feeling fear right now when it comes to Braveheart.
No. But if you just get double sunstriked and they both hit and you die from it, you're going to be pretty tilted.
Yeah. Oh man, Alchemist now running desperately as quick as his little feet can take him over towards this bounty rune. 10 seconds left, he picks it up. Does he get another? That's 582 gold. Oh, if he gets it, I think they just win.
I think they already won, dude. Now they can convert Roche, and this is Braveheart's best chance to fight. They have to fight into this pit, I feel like. Because they're losing the game with how it's going naturally, and I guess they're just scared, thinking this is Smoke Gank instead of Roche.
Yeah.
You know, they've got Sunstrike from Evoker to scout it out, so they should be aware of this happening.
Yeah, there's a couple of pings that come out, and with that, they're still just going to be able to take the Roche for QD Lifestealer. Again, this guy has kind of been a, I don't know, I want to say, I mean, he was playing on Invictus Gaming for a long time. Did a great job, I think, on that team. At times, he felt like the strongest part of that team, even better than what we were seeing sometimes from Ferrari. But I don't know. I still think that it's a bit strange that they switched now on all the way over to EHOME.Keen, but trying to make a name for himself here. It's felt like he's been in control all game, and outside of the Alchemist, most farmed hero.
I mean, if he was topping the Alk, that would be impressive.
Right.
But I don't think that happens in real games. Speaking of IG, is Z or Zhao, however you pronounce it, Luo from IG of old, like TI4 at a time, the Bat Rider? That is Luo, right?
I believe it is actually. Let me double check that.
Because I know he changed his name to that around.
It is Luo.
Last time.
Yeah.
I thought so. So you know, there's more IG members. EHOME are poachers.
That's right. EHOME taking him away, and let's see. Yeah, it doesn't say that he has any other relationship anymore with IG, so it's just strictly an EHOME thing. So a lot of talent on this team. They might sneak in under the radar. I mean, EHOME.Keen, some people will forget how much this team really impacted the meta at TI. They were the first guys that I saw that were running the X marks the spot with the Kunkka, and then Blade Fury Sendback that ended up winning a couple of different games at various points. So it's kind of been this bastion of experimental play that then the main EHOME roster also takes advantage of.
I mean, they've got the luxury of doing experimental things when they're not playing for big dollar tournaments. It makes such a difference when there's money on the line, you're going to a choke game, it's like, well, we have this cool strategy, but do we really want to use it?
Right. Well, and also
at the end of the day, it's not about practice.
Yeah, and the team house environment also. I remember watching a video that was an eHome house tour that was put together by Ice 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 when he was still on the team, and they showed that all the EHOME.Keen guys were playing in the same house as the EHOME people, so they were constantly scrimming against each other, even within the same team and organization. So they got that experience playing against each other. Really cool stuff that you get to see when you have that type of infrastructure available. This Alchemist just on the double, just keeps on picking up these bounty runes. Man, he is going to have so much network by the end of all this.
I feel like he's not going to climb much higher because they want to end the game now. They have the Aegis, they pick up PqB on him, which is a clear tell. They don't want to prolong the game or anything, they just want to go right now. Unfortunately, the Courier Micro was pretty bad, so now he has to run back to base, but if they take this fight without him, it could go badly, but Braveheart aren't set, so they might just get picked off.
Ooh, Sentry Ward placed down, they jump forward, the silence as well, and now they've also caught that Invoker, he's gone, so there's gonna be a dead Disruptor. Man, kicking people while they're down. This is a hard life right now. Blink strikes forward, and they got the silence on Dog 7. Oh no, vacuum wall back onto 2. Is it gonna be enough? Not nearly. Triple kill for QD. This Lifestealer has taken over the game, and side of EHOME.Keen has infested the Braveheart lands.
And I don't think they're leaving anytime soon without massive collateral damage. The luxury of having the tier 2 top means they probably don't end the game now, but they effectively put the nail in the coffin ready to be banged in.
God, I mean, and meanwhile the Juggernaut is just trying his best to split push up in the top lane. Witch Doctor's there as well, but they're losing their entire base, and if EHOME.Keen wanted to, I think that they can just go finish the game,
they could
honestly.
I mean, the second Rax is for safe decision, but I think they could have just hit pro.
They leave
That's
the
a
range.
spectator's luxury though, so, you know, I don't blame them at all.
They want to defend their lands, and oh, BKB popped for prosperity. Why not? There's going to be a couple right clicks. Give me your bonus gold, Witch Doctor. It's going in my pocket. Alchemist
They get
getting his
dived in the
murders.
face meanwhile.
He
Just
doesn't care.
unending aggression.
Oh, they
And he's not
glimpse.
going to die, you know, he just infests. He's good.
4,000 gold in the bank for him. QD, happy as a clam. The barracks are about to go down. They have a blink strike forward, able to catch. The initiation is there. Oh my goodness gracious, it's frustrating to play against. The mechanism does come out, and they're actually going to be able to pull the Ricky back in. They do find that kill, so the buyback from the Invoker bearing fruit. Still very hard to deal with.
How much fruit does it really bear though?
Yeah.
Like one bite of an apple maybe? It's still like such a grim position for them, and I think the biggest thing that put them in this position was when they dove the tier 2 mid when they had Aegis. They just took an unfavorable fight at their peak timing, and as much as you can critique the draft, they still had ways of winning this game from what they had. They just weren't able to execute it, and as I said earlier, EHOME just have an easier way of playing their draft. They're not under as much pressure, they can get things done easier, and they're always playing with more information. Dota's not a game about like mechanics at this level, it's about how much information you can get off the map and how well you coordinate your team around that information. And Ricky and Batrider give way more vision than anyone on Braveheart.
Yeah.
You know, Sunstrike's their only vision tool. Pretty hard to win games when you're playing with that kind of deficit, no matter how good or bad you are in comparison to the other team.
Absolutely. And I'm going to follow around this Alchemist for a little while right now, because he is hovering up at that insane gold per minute marks, almost at 1100. Do you know what the record is by any chance? I'm not really sure what it is, but
I feel like I've seen 1400,
okay.
maybe 2000 in some games, but they're pub games.
That's pretty absurd. Meanwhile, mid lane, there's a battle that's going on. We're missing it. It's going to be a jump. That's a dead Invoker. Lifestealer with the double kill, and GG gets called. My goodness gracious. That was ugly. Braveheart dismantled by the side of EHOME.Keen. Any final thoughts on this game before we go to a quick break and game number 2 comes up?
I think they just made it too hard for themselves in the draft. And if they can correct those errors in the second game, I think it will look a lot closer. Because they didn't play awfully, they just didn't have options. And you could blatantly see when they got behind, they didn't know what to do because they didn't have anything to do that wasn't super next level. So just make it easier in the draft. And hopefully next game's closer.
Well, hopefully we end up seeing that indeed. I gotta commend QD, played a really great game on Lifestealer, still 11-0-8, and this is a guy to watch out for. I mean, Team Braveheart, they've got a, still an axe to grind in game number 2. They're probably a little bit flustered, but you can still make things happen with this squad. And then on the side of EHOME.Keen, you just gotta feel good, try and replicate what happened previously. I've been Lyrical, he's been PqMz. You can follow us on Twitter if you feel so inclined. It's all linked up in the title, and we'll get that going for you guys. Hope that you enjoyed the broadcast, and we'll be back in just a little bit with game number 2. See you guys then.